So today we're going to Nyanamkela. Yeah, today so we're going to start in a different manner, in a different way, just to see how it goes, right? So this is how we're going to start it. Let's see.
Brown Mokhodzi is not your close associate, he's your comrade.
It is not my associate, it's just a comrade.
What is the difference between a close associate and comrades? Are we not just playing with semantics before?
I don't know this person.
When we bring it to you that you are a close associate, you say, no, I'm not a close associate, I'm a comrade. That is playing with semantics.
No, not at all. I deny that strongly. It doesn't work.
Would you agree that the term comrade used in the ANC context is a formal term?
I didn't hear that.
Oh my word, this one kills me. Yeah, no, sorry guys. It was just too funny for me. It was just too funny for me. I do not know this person. Yeah. There's a lot that's going on there. There's just a lot. I don't even know where to start because so much is happening in that clip. And by the way, this happened, I think, last week when the minister was in the ad hoc committee in the parliament. So, yeah, it's so funny, right? Two things I pick up from this thing. Number one is the comrade / associate word. There's a lot of talk that happened about that word, right? And then I needed to understand that maybe it's me. I'm getting lost somewhere. Maybe I don't understand what this word means. Then I went to dig. There are documents there talking about, especially here in South Africa, because this is a word that is used mostly in politics. This is the word that is used mostly in politics. And then there's another meaning of this word, which comes from the word comadra, which is not an English word. But then we adopted the word in South Africa and we use in politics, meaning or simply saying that we are in this together. We are fighting this together. We have one enemy and then we have one cause. We have one directive and then we need to execute it. So we fight in the struggle together. So when I say comrade, you must know that, yeah, we are fighting the same enemy. But then I know that, especially in the varsity, we have used this word loosely. I would just say to my fellow classmates, hey, comrade. And then I'll say to my friends, hey, comrade. I would say to people just that I just meet in the street, but then not everyone that I do not know. I wouldn't just say this word to someone that I don't know. I would call someone that I know, hey, comrade, how's it? Because we understand the word to be a word of saying that we are joining forces and then we're going together. The word associate, it means exactly the same because it's not far from it. When you check the dictionary, it says that subordinate, it's a subordinate or someone you work with or you are working on something with someone. So it's more or less the same word. That is why I think Malima was so angry about it, that we are just playing with semantics here. It's basically the same thing we are talking about. All right. But I think in the committee, they're trying to find a deeper relationship than that of which is a comrade, that you guys maybe go for tea together, talk together, all those things. I think that's what they're trying to find out. So that's the word that has been confusing a lot in this whole meeting. 8 hours, 9 hours just listening. We're trying to figure out what does this word comrade associate means. And then the second thing that I picked out is relationship. My word. I do not know this person. He went and denied him on the public. Says, I don't know him. He's just a comrade, meaning that as any other comrade, he even made an example. As any one of you sitting here, he is the same as me. I know you as I know him. But then they went to dig deeper, trying to find out that he's actually not telling the truth, but they are trying to find out the relationship he had with Mkhotsi. If I was Mkhotsi, sitting at home watching that ad hoc committee with my kids, and then he says, I do not know you, I'd be very, very angry or disappointed at the least, right? But then you have to ask yourself why. Why is it denouncing this relationship now on the public? I think that's the question where we need to ask. Is it true that, because there are two possibilities here. It's either he's telling the truth or he's telling the lies, of which all of us maybe we are believing that he's telling the lies. Or most of us, which including me, we are believing that he's telling the lies. If therefore he is telling the lies, then why deny the relationship now? Does the relationship not matter that much at this stage that you are able to say, no, I'm cutting this one off? Because I think relationships are very important as people. And then I think sometimes it's only your word against mine. It's just give me your word and I'm good with it, right? Because sometimes we don't want to define in which level of relationship we are at. We just get into and then we cruise and then we'll see where it leads us. We don't define the scope of the relationship. We don't define how far we have to take it. And then before you know it, you guys are in a relationship. But then in that relationship have input and also have output. It's a give and take situation. You put in, and then you receive outside, because it can't be only giving, and then receiving. Relationships don't work like that. Give and take. And then now, talking about the inputs, you need to find that, okay, these are the things that we input in the relationship, and then we have the expected results out of this relationship. So if the inputs are illegal, that's when now I have to come in before we get to the public. That's why I have to come in and say, but then I didn't sign for this. This is not what I stand for. This is when I'm discussing the relationship between two people. Like, okay, I see the inputs here. I bring my inputs on the table. You bring yours on the table. But then I see that we are not aligning on what we bring in the table. So we can't work together. Then there, you would therefore decide to, okay, I stop continuing in this relationship with this person. We go separate ways. We grow apart, as some would call it. That's now a defined relationship, because now once you are at the stage where you are able to tell each other the truth and facts about situations, then you are able to move forward nicely. But then if therefore you continue with all the inputs, either good or bad inputs, and then at the later stage you come and then you says that I don't know him, because now you say that you don't know him because now it's in public. Because now it is brought in public, that's when you do not know the person. I don't think a relationship works like that. You need to be honest with each other from the get-go. Right? And then it brings me to say that, okay, do we need therefore to sign contracts when we do this relationship? Because I know that some relationship comes to an end. And then when they come to an end, it's either we allow them to say, no, we were good, but then things are no longer working out. It's allowed to have relationship to come to an end. You can't just have a continuous relationship. And then you view the things that now each of you like, or the places the two of you like to go, or the three, or as a group, and then you realize now, things are just don't fit in anymore, and then you choose a separate path, choose a separate way. It is allowed to choose a separate way in a relationship. I think it's only a maturity, right? I think it's only maturity that now we understand that it's a full stop. But then if you allow all the bad things to happen, and then you come at the later stage, regardless in public or not in public, but I don't think in private you would even deny it because you actually don't care. But then at the later stage in a public platform like the parliament, now you come and says that it's just a comrade, he's just a comrade, he's not my associate, then it brings so many questions. Why up until now? Why are you denying this person now? Because we know that some of the relationship, they get to that stage where people want to be with other people only in the private spaces, but then when it gets to the public, they don't want to be associated with them. They'll be like, no, I don't want to be seen with you in public. That's tough then. Then you realize that I'm actually not a friend. I'm actually used, because what's wrong with me being seen with you in the public? That's where I got an issue with that. We are not defining these relationships correctly. Because if the relationship is so much as meaningful and has impact, you won't be shy to proclaim that relationship. You would know that, yes, he was my friend, and then he was my friend, and then we went and we do this. Or yes, he was my friend, and not shy away. Because now there's shenanigans happening. You go like, so do we have meaningful relationships nowadays anymore? Or should we sign contracts when we do this relationship so that we understand where we stand with each other? But I believe that honesty is one of the key in these relationships. You need to be honest, to talk it through. Be open with each other. Right? Be open. This took me to another story that I like. Right? Before I go to stories, relationships comes to an end. They come to an end. We have seen many relationships comes to an end. Have you seen Destiny's Child, where Beyonce and them, they were a trio, powerful, known, I'm sure in the 90s, they were the it thing. But then they decided, no, let's part ways. Anyone can go and do their own ways in a separate way. And then they went and did their own thing separately. And then Beyonce grew bigger, which it works on her advantage, I think. Do you know the Jackson 5? I think it happens like that. I think here in South Africa, we have Malaika as well. We have Liquid Deep. We have so much of groups of bands of people that have separated, and then they just went and do their own thing because the relationship comes to an end. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that Floyd Shivambu would have left Malema? No one would have thought. They were comrade in arms. They were like, yeah, he's my comrade. We fight in the struggle together. And then Mr. Shivambu woke up the other day and he decided, I'm not having it anymore. And then he went to MK, and then he stayed there in MK for a few days, and he's like, no, this is not for me as well. Let me bounce. And then he broke up with them again. Relationship comes and ends. Some of them comes in a short period of times, and then the other comes last for longer. There's a story that I like. This story goes like this. Drum roll. Did you know that King David had a wonderful friend, like a friend that loved each other, both of them. After the great fight that was happening between David and Goliath, it's famous one. We all know about this fight, or some of us we know, where David was fighting Goliath. After the fight, the king, which by the name of Saul, invited David and said, David, from now on, because you won this fight for us or this battle for us, you don't need to go home. Can you please come and stay with me in my palace? And then David weighed the options like home, and then here the king is summoning me. Let me just rather go to the king. And then he left with the king, and then he went to the king's palace, and then he stayed in the king's palace. The day he arrived, the Bible says that when Saul's son, by the name of Jonathan, when he saw David, the Bible says that he loved him like he loved his soul. So he loved him more than himself. And then from that day onwards, they became friends. Jonathan and David, they went to make a covenant and says that I am going to be there for you no matter what circumstance. And then David says that, me too, brother, I'm going to be there for you no matter what happens. And they become best friends. This friendship is like that of Salvatore Brothers in that series where they were there for each other, or what other friends in the movies, or Nicholson and his brother, those vampire brothers, they were there for each other all the time. Like they loved each other. So they, two of them, David and Jonathan, they said that we are going to be there for each other. We're going to make a covenant, and it's going to be a last full covenant until we all die. Then it happened. They became friends. Now, David grew much famous because now he was winning battles, and then the city loved him. The people in the city, they started to love him, that no, he is fighting for us, and then he is defending us. The king became jealous. The father of Jonathan was like, no, he's becoming more popular than I am. I have to do something. Then he devised a plan to kill him. He wanted to kill him. And then Jonathan heard his father saying that he wants to kill David. He went and warned David and said, David, just know, my father wants to kill you. That's friendship right there. Where people are talking about you and then you go warn your friend, that is friendship. Where you don't add stuff or subtract stuff and try to defend it. Rather, I would prefer that you don't partake and like, no, I don't want to be a part of it. I'm out of here. He went and then he told David, I said, David, don't see my family, they are talking about you. And mind you, he is against this when the family are trying to kill his friend. He knows what he stands for. He has agreed in the terms of the relationship, and then he understands how far he needs to go with this relationship. And then when time goes on, when David was still hiding from the king, they still went to battles. Then Jonathan went to David and said, David, actually, this is what I want you to know. When you become king, I will be beside you. Why is he then now endorsing David to be king, whereas he's in line of the throne? He understood the mission of God. He understood what God wanted for the country, because now Saul was now disqualified by God. Already was king, but God says, no, I don't want to be with you anymore because you are not following whatever all my commandments that I'm giving you. Then he therefore appointed David to say, David, you are going to be king of Israel. And then when Jonathan heard that, he went and endorsed David and says, no, actually, I am with you on this thing. Now, this is another point that I like from this. Friends are not supposed to be jealous of each other's success. When your friend is progressing in life, clap hands for them. When your friend is making it in life, clap hands for them. If your friend is achieving in life, clap hands for them. You don't have to be negative and then says that, you bought a Clio. Man, Tina's a driver my beer. We drive the Benzes and all those things. But then this is not about you. I bought a Clio now. At least clap hands for me now. Because your time maybe will come. Your time might come, or your time will come. So Jonathan, then he told him that, when you become king, I want to be right there with you. And then time went on. And then now Jonathan and his father passed on. And then there was a decree or a request where there was a request that all descendants of Jonathan, of King Saul, must be killed, all of them. Now, they went and looked for every sibling, every descendant of Saul, and then they killed them all. When David became king, some time later, he then remembered that I had a covenant with someone. I had a friendship that meant so much to me. And then I want to find anyone, if there's anyone from the house of Jonathan, anyone, the descendant of Jonathan, find him and then bring him to me. This he was telling to his advisors, go search for anyone who is the son or descendant from the house of Jonathan. And then they went and looked, and then until they find a crippled son of Jonathan by the name of Mephibosheth. Then they brought him to the king. And then the king says that I'm going to restore everything that was lost from your house. And then he gave him everything. We know that story. He blessed him with everything that ever was supposed to be belonging to him. That was David honoring his covenant or his friendship to Jonathan. I think that's what we need in friendship. We need to have a defined relationship where we know that what we stand for, the both of us, we're not gonna betray each other, because some of these relationships sometimes they feel like they're just going on for the sake of going on. We're trying to push a mandate that is no longer there anymore. And then we try to keep going on and going on and going on until we all or both of us collapse. There is another story that I'm going to close with. So, when Jesus was crucified, Jesus had friends, and those friends were also called his disciples. When he was crucified, there was a group of people that came to Peter, the greater disciple or the greater apostle, and then they asked him, we know you. You were one of the followers of Christ, or you were one of the disciples of Christ. And then Peter was like, I do not know that person. I do not know that person. And then the second person came to Peter, and then he said, Peter, no, man, I think you even talk like him. You must be one of him. He says, sorry, I did not hear you. And then the third person came, and then he says, Peter, you are lying, man. You must be one of him. And then Peter says, then, I do not. He's just one of the preachers that I used to attend some of his meetings, but I personally do not know the guy. Right? And then he denied him, just like that. This is what the minister just did here. Deny. I think when you don't believe in something so much, you will deny when given a chance. You will say, "No, I don't know. I don't know." But when you get to that public platform and then you are convicted with the love of that friendship, you would approve it and say, no, exactly, I know it. What were you saying? What a friend we have in Jesus when they sing these songs. I think the other singers sing this song. Meaning that if Christ is our friend, what therefore is stopping us to announce him in public spaces, wherever we stand, maybe at work, our friends, wherever we go, when given a chance, we proclaim his name and says, Christ actually is the Lord, and I follow him deeply. But in some of us, we deny even by not doing anything. We just don't want people to know. Have you ever been in a workplace party? Someone can we find someone to open in prayer, and you know that you are a Christian, but you don't want people to know. But then when you are so much convicted about something, you will always stand for it. If friendship is meaningful or means something to you, you will stand for it. Anywhere, private or public, classroom, work, any way you act, you will stand for that relationship that is meaningful. But then if the friendship means nothing, you're definitely not going to say something. You're going to let it slide. You will deny it. And then you will just deny it. Push it under the rug. Let not people even know. That's what the minister is doing here. And unfortunately, most of us are under the same disease. But I hope we improve and learn something from this situation that we see here. That if we do not want to find ourselves in a situation that are compromising, then we need to define our relationship. After we define our relationship, we will be able to approve those relationships in public. I approve this message. Bye-bye.